10, 9, ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
SEGA live with you right here on Wednesday, as we were hoping would be before the Bama Brawl. More on that in just a moment. I'm Lee Kraft over there, the voice of the Southeast Gases Association, David Lancaster. We might have Dujane Bland show up later. We've got two great guests in Todd Oden and Ken Rainwater, some Bama Boys themselves who were ready to go racing there at Holiday Raceway, but we have had a postponement, David.
Yeah, unfortunately, the weather is looking very bleak for this weekend's race. So management and they have decided to move it back a week. So we'll be racing next weekend, the 9th and the 10th of May. Same place, same bat time. Doing the race at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and we practicing on Friday night for the test and tune. But, yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. But that's just what we have to do sometimes. We have to make an adjustment on the fly.
It is unfortunate, but so glad that the Southeast Gases Association has got the wiggle room with the track and with so many of the venues and in schedule to make this adjustment. And you can look at just about any weather app. Overnight, it seemed like it just turned for the worse, and it's not going to be improving, it seems like. And there's a situation of even equipment and things of that nature and not having sunlight and the track prepared. If even everything went ideally, then highly that's not going to happen this weekend. So I think it's the right call. There's a lot of people that travel very far to get to a Southeast Gases Association race, and the word getting out sooner is better than later in this type of situation. And I think with what's already transpired behind the scenes, I think people can look forward to this weekend opening up for the Southeast Gases Association than what was originally scheduled. Yes, I know it's Mother's Day weekend. Bring mom out. Bring mom out. It's that simple. It's not going to ruin her plans. I highly doubt it. Come race, enjoy it. By the way, David, you remember when NASCAR tried to kill Darlington by putting it on Mother's Day weekend, and it had the complete reverse outcome? It boosted it.
Yeah, I was speaking with some of our management personnel today about that very same thing. You know, it used to be taboo. Oh, we stay away from Mother's Day for NASCAR. You know, honor our mothers. Well, what better way to honor your mother than to bring her? She does not have to do anything of that nature, and you can treat her to a day with her son, daughter, the whole family right there at a Southeast Gasser event.
Yeah, my mom, I know she is routinely asking, hey, are you going to be in this state when I'm there? And are you going to be at a race? And can I go to a race? So it is routine that you'll see mom saying, hey, I want to go to a race. So bring mom out. Treat her to a day at the races. And remember, we're not racing on Mother's Day. Okay, so you can still make church on Sunday and go to Texas Roadhouse and get stuffed on rolls that you got to wait for an hour to get to before you set because they're so busy. But you can still do that because we're not racing on Sunday. It's okay.
Very true. Very true. And, you know, that was one of the things, the forecast even for Sunday of this weekend, not looking much more favorable. But Holiday Raceway does not race on Sunday. So you don't have to worry about that for next weekend either. So you will be able to get this in on Saturday and no racing on Sunday.
Yes. And as many people are already finding out with all the events that were going on in Alabama, Alabama was jumping this weekend. Yeah. You had drag racing happening at Rocket City Dragway with some Nitro and some Nostalgia Drag Racing League. And you had an event at Lassiter Mountain. You had an event in East Birmingham with IndyCar in town at Barber Motorsports Park. You also had graduations happening throughout many of the universities just down the road in Tuscaloosa. They were doing that. People are already finding out that cheaper hotel prices are a reality. So this might be a blessing in disguise, honestly.
You really can. I mean, it makes your dollar go further because the University of Alabama is going to graduate not just 100 kids. They're going to graduate thousands. And their parents are going to be there. I mean, you're going to wait in line to get something to eat. Yeah, I mean, you're going to find cheaper hotel prices. It's going to be less congested on the roads and probably a little safer down there in Alabama this next weekend.
Absolutely. Look, we're looking forward to it either way. Southeast Gases Association Drag Racing returns to the great state of Alabama. It has been a while, and I know that the Bama Boys are looking forward to being back in their state, in their SEGA competitive cars, and putting on a good show. And our first guest is one of those Bama Boys, Todd Oden. David, when folks bring up Todd Oden, what do you think of?
Absolute class. That's what I think of. The way he runs his organization, the way his father put this organization together for him. He's a first-rate human being. They run a first-rate organization there. And every time you see that 58 Delray go down the track, it's set for kill. And Todd has just been a stalwart with us for well on 8-9 years now. I forget the number of years he's raced with us. Great story. And basically, he's the leader of what I call the Alabama Boys, as he is the first guy from the state of Alabama to really stick his flag for the state of Alabama in the Southeast Gassers. And now we find Ken Rainwater, Jerry Dean, Alan Lovelady, John Mack, all the people that are coming with him.
Summit Racing Equipment. From the store, the catalog, or online, you can get your street rod, hot rod, personal ride, and even race car, including a Southeast Gassers Association ride, ready for action. Build with Summit Racing Equipment.
And with us now, Todd Oden, as we get David coming back in here. Todd, wow, good to have you back, obviously, with the Southeast Gassers Association. And we had you at Shady Side, but we just did miss you out on getting into competition. And we'll have to wait for Todd. I bet he's getting a phone call. This is usually a phone call screen is when this happens, David.
Hey, I just looked in our comments section right here. Guy who is leading the points in our C-Gas category, Jaron Purdue, just posted, can't go next weekend. It could be interesting for Todd Oden in his quest to defend the C-Gas championship. If the stud muffin and Jaron Purdue is not going to be there, that is going to pose some interesting plot twist.
It is. Certainly some folks will be looking to gain ground in that situation. And this happens when you have flexibility and when you do move things, because overall, the entirety of having a race for a place like Holiday and SEGA is important. It just is important. And sometimes you have these situations and competitors might not be able to make it. And that is a big name saying cannot make it for next weekend. We're going to try Todd again. Todd, that was a phone call, wasn't it?
Sorry about that. We had a call come in and knock me offline.
You're good, man. Good to have you on the show. And there it happens again. It happens again. We'll have to wait for Todd and let him come back in.
He's a busy man, and he's a busy man, and he knows selling cars is what enables him to get out there and get to the racetrack and provide the power for that double down two of his son Michael Oden and for that 58 Delray that he drives, the Double X. So
the Double X is a powerful car, championship winning car. The Double Down is a tremendous hot rod as well, and Michael has been piloting that thing exceptionally well. Already a final round this year at South Georgia Motorsports Park. And we had the two young guns meet very early at Shadyside Dragway, and Michael prevailed over Briley Stott. And then you had Ken Rainwater go on and win the race. We'll talk with Ken in just a moment after Todd. Todd, let's try this again and before you get another phone call.
Man, I'm so sorry. It's during business times here on American time. You guys are on that East Coast foreign time up there.
Hey, whoa. Hey, I'm in Middle Tennessee now, so I'm Central Time too, man. So
I hear you. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all
David's the
late.
one living in the past here.
There you go.
No. That y'all are behind. Y'all are 1 hour behind.
But anyway, I didn't get to hear what you guys said. I'm so sorry that I had a call come in.
No worries, man. Todd, look, let's begin with the season opener. It was not your season opener. You had a serious medical issue that had to be dealt with. Bring us up to speed. What do people need to know out of your situation that can benefit them?
Well, I mean, main thing was that we went to test at Huntsville to get the car tuned in, and I just had some difficulties getting my breath and getting air, and got really tired. And just luckily I had my cousin Joey with me, and we were able to get me home. And I just didn't get any better on Sunday. And luckily his wife is a big league nurse, and she talked me into going on to the doctor, and they got me taken care of. I got a couple of stents, one in, one out, and and I've got through that now, and I'm fine, and I'm ready to race. And we went to the second race in good health, but had engine problems. We had a borrowed engine that didn't make but about a run and a half. And but now we've got the car together and everything's good. We're ready to go, ready to race, and we got that thing set on kill.
Well, Todd, speaking of setting it on kill, I know the one-way power that you've been using for the last 2 or 3 years has been something that propelled you to the championship last year and keeps that car up front in our C-Gas category. Talk about any changes you got for 25 that you will let out of the bag.
Well, we've got an all-new engine. It's an all-new combination. We really have been working hard on doing something a little bit different. I'd like to think that, Jeff and the guys up there, they kind of experiment a little bit with me because they know that we're not going anywhere, that we're going to stay with them no matter what. So we get the opportunity to try different camshafts, different pistons, different head combinations before they release it out to everyone else. And sometimes in trying something a little different like that, you have some things that cause some growing pains. But I believe we're on a combination right now that's going to definitely what we're looking for is to get the record back, bring the record back to Alabama. Joey's been working hard on the car, getting the setup right. We've got some new chassis components along with that new engine. And I like to think those two things to get us back to where we need to be.
With what you have seen not being behind the driver's wheel in your category thus far in Southeast Gas Association drag racing, Todd, what stands out this year in competition that is a bit different from other years that you've been doing this for so long now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that stands out to me is that stud muffin car is still strong as ever, but the young man driving it, Jaron Purdue, right now is definitely at home behind the wheel of that car. That car suits his personality to a T, and that car is going to be a difficult car to beat. And then, of course, I love seeing Tim Hall come back and win this last race. It's not the same without Tim being there. We're great friends off the track, and when you go up to race Tim on the track, you're going to get his best. And I think that's really good. I love seeing the young blood car out there, and there's so many cars in C that are just a tick away from winning every single race. You can't sleep a light at all now. Ernie Smith, Diana Casto, any of these cars can beat you at any time. All you got to do is just sleep a light, just a touch, and you're done. It's a tough class to run.
Todd, all our gas categories are getting that way, and especially C gas. In your attempt to try to defend, I don't know if you were online and heard earlier, Jaron Purdue commented that he's not going to be able to make the race next weekend. So that is something that could pose some great things for you in your quest to get back to the top.
Yeah, we may have to go back over that. He's getting another phone call. Well, folks, leave the celebrity alone. Let him talk here on SEGA Live. No, he's got a busy day in his business. See if we can get him to go to airplane mode. That will help out, and he can connect. See what might happen.
Yes,
see what might
yes.
happen. But
You know,
it's
but
going to be
talking
good
about that-
it's going to be good to see Todd behind the wheel and back in competition. Again, had some motor issues there at Shadyside, but he's going to be ready to go for the Bama Brawl and get into the brawl of SEGAS for the first time in earnest this race coming up now on May 9th and 10th at Holiday Raceway.
Yeah, and I tell you, I've not been to Holiday Raceway. I anticipate a packed house down there for that event because our guys in Alabama are champions. I mean, there's 3 world champions right there in Alabama, and they've got tons of people that follow them. This is going to be the closest race for them. They're going to be there. It's not going to matter what weekend we run or not. They're going to show up and show out. And it's going to be a great weekend down there in Alabama at Holiday Raceway.
Right. Todd, we got you back. We'll let David set that question up once again as he was sending it your way.
What I was saying, Todd, is in our comment section here on the live. Okay, Todd, what I was saying was Jaron Purdue commented that he's not going to be able to go next weekend, so he won't be at Holiday Raceway because of the schedule change. So what does that pump you up or give you a little bit more amp to try to get that double X in victory lane and make up some points?
Well, it does. I really don't like that. I would rather him be there for sure, because if I win a race, I want to win the race with all the best cars there. But I mean, that does kind of equal a playing field, because that puts Tim down one race, me down one race, and if Jaron's not there, that'll put him down one race. So, well, I'm actually down 2 races, but I guess that would kind of equal it out and make a championship run a little more interesting for everyone. But that's going to definitely propel guys like Ernie Smith and everyone right up to the top, and it's going to make it quite the interesting year.
I agree with
Todd.
you there, and
No, go ahead, David. You're good.
I agree with you, Todd, and I think that, like you said, it's going to give Ernie Smith, other people who have made these races consistently, and where you've been out, it's going to make a tighter bunching and grouping for the rest of the season right here. And Ernie's got that Todd Hertel special, and it's really doing well.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Ernie is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, not only that, Ernie's a great driver. He clowns around and cuts up, and everybody has a good time poking fun with him. But the fact of the matter is, Ernie's not to be taken lightly. I mean, when I came into this series, Ernie was top dog. I mean, literally, he was the car to beat. And to this day, his driving has always been top notch. You cannot take him lightly, ever. Great guy.
Todd, SEGA drag racing returns to Alabama. It has been at least a couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lassiter Mountain was the last location to have a Southeast Gassers Association race in Alabama. And we're going to be returning to the state at a new place. What can we expect at Holiday Raceway? I'm sure you're familiar with it.
I am. Holiday is a great track. It was started in 1966, so it's got the old school vibe. Real close up to the track feel. You can get right up to the edge and see the burnout. The tower is right, probably the closest tower that David will ever sit in to the actual starting line. It's a tight track, but it's got plenty of parking, plenty of spectator facilities, a good concession stand, few shade trees out there, nice grass. I believe people are really going to be surprised at how much they'll enjoy this track and how much it'll feel like the Southeast Gasser home should feel. In other words, it's going to be more period correct than, say, going to some of these big, huge tracks that we've been trying to go to lately. This is going to seem more like a smaller, shady side where it's more intimate setting. You know, I think people are really going to like it.
So maybe bring Mom out for a picnic on the side of the hill with some fried chicken as we watch some Southeast Gasser racing.
Yeah, I believe you can definitely do that. It's go ahead and bring Mom on out there. Just bring her an umbrella because it's going to be pretty and sunny, and we're going to have a good time. You just bring her a lawn chair and an umbrella.
All right. Well, Todd, look, thank you for your time. We're looking forward to getting down into your home state and get to some Southeast Gassers Association drag racing now on May 9th and 10th. Before you head off, though, I know Jaron Purdue's not going to be there now, but, man, can we get a call out like on Friday night or in qualifying and, you know, get some stakes on Mr. Businessman against somebody? Could we do something?
We need to come up with something good to put up, don't we? It's maybe a little run for some kind of show or something. I don't know. Just we'll all need to be thinking about that because I'd love to get out there and do anything I can to make this a successful race. I don't know. Maybe we'll get the loser have to do some push-ups or something. I don't know. Whatever you can come up with, I'll be down with. I promise.
All right. Well, Todd, look, thank you for your time. We're looking forward to the Bama Brawl, and we know you're ready to do just that, brawl in that double down.
That's good, man. Thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate you guys and appreciate all you do for the sport.
Thank you. It is going to be good in SEGA.
Yeah, SEGA is just, I mean, all our gas categories are getting crazy. I mean, it's just tenths of a second, thousandths of a second margins of victory. I mean, if you sit in the tower and get to see that, and I can announce the margins of victory, but it is just incredible what some of our gas categories are doing. And I wanted to ask Todd, but we didn't get a chance to get into it. You know, what the horsepower, and it comes down to tuning that chassis.
And what an interesting car out there. I mean, very distinct with that Chevrolet that he has got. It's a 1958 Chevrolet. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And, you know, funny thing about it, you know, as the competition level ramped up, you know, Todd, what he calls put the car on a diet a couple of years ago. They cut like 600 pounds out of that car. I mean, they just tore it all apart. Lots of fiberglass going back on it so it could stay competitive because Todd didn't want to change to a Chevy 2 or change to another car because he feels that double X is his identity. And it is his identity because when people see the double X, they think two-time world champion Todd Oden.
Absolutely. It is a distinct car. It is a beautiful machine, and it stands out. And I really think in the world of drag racing, in the world of motorsports, something that can help edge you over the competition in the marketing department is, well, stand out. Have something a bit different. And just like we see in modern day pro mod and pro stock, they don't really stand out. So if you have something that stands out, people are going to recognize you. I don't know how many people comment about Gabriel Burrell and that Model A, that gold Southern Flyer. It's just distinct. It stands out amongst the competition. So having something distinct is very important. And though we've got a lot of Novas and Chevy 2s right now, the fact of the matter is Ken Rainwater stands out with his driving ability and his prowess in a Southeast Gassers Association event. And he was able to stand out amongst all of them at Shadyside Dragway and pick up the win in B-Gas. It had been a while, David.
It had. Ken Rainwater and his dad and Teddy and the crew there, they have really been working their rear ends off. 2024, I think he will admit, was a disappointment to them. But about the time we got down to Gulfport, Mississippi, they started hitting on some things. And that only left them one race, which was Shadyside, to prove that. But they did a little combination change, did a little bit more tinkering, and that's something you gets outrun. That's just fuel to his fire to get back in there, start turning wrenches, and make it faster. And they've done so this year, and that car's performance has really, really got back to its championship form.
That it has. Well, this show is presented by today One Way Technologies. They also are the presenting sponsor of the Bama Brawl. One Way Technologies. They are an important part in the Southeast Gassers Association drag racing world. Also, as we switch gears, if you're going to switch gears in Southeast Gassers Association competition and beyond, G-Force Racing Transmissions are the gears that you need to be switching. Racing and performance, street transmissions, G-Force Racing Transmissions. They are the ones that are going to get you to victory lane. And when you mash in that clutch pedal, it needs to be a Ram clutch. Step up your game with Ram clutches. If it's in the Southeast Gassers Association or even for your street rod or modern muscle, they have applications for you. Made in the USA, Ram clutches. So we're going to shift gears as we mash in that clutch and let it flow through the One Way Technologies heads here on the show, presented by One Way Technologies, as we take a break. Then Mr. Rainwater.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
And now with us live. I can move you, Ken. I can move you.
No, you're good.
Yep, there we go. We'll put David down below.
Can you put a hat on him?
He wasn't talking to you.
Oh, it's already begun. Oh, my goodness.
He needs a hat.
Yeah, I know. Bald head. I can't help it. That's what happens when you have a race car. You pull all this stuff out.
Well, Ken, look, good to have you here on SEGA Live. Congratulations once again on the win at Shady Side. Want to take time, break that down, but I cannot help but think at the top end, you sounded relieved, like finally.
Yeah, I think I told you that was the first race in, 3 or 4 years, that we had won and been to several finals and just couldn't seem to get it done. And, I think we won a championship in, 21. And after that, we just took a tremendous step back, doing our own engine deal, trying to do our own program and not, follow the path of others. But the performance of these cars just every year, as David mentioned, just keeps picking up and picking up and picking up. And sometimes you fall behind by just not going any faster. I mean, these cars just every time you go, they're faster, and it's hard to keep up, more or less get ahead. And we kept thinking we were close, and we were, but we just couldn't get it done. So to finally get it done, yeah, it was a huge relief.
And you saw that relief on your dad's face. I know he was excited to have that trophy back in his hand. But, Ken, talk about the struggle that you guys went through in 24 and some of the things that you battled in to get back to the form that you are now in 25.
Yeah, the struggle was 23. In 23, we just got into a rut to where we hurt an engine at every single race. We came home with a hurt motor every race. And that was really depressing and just kind of got us off in left field. And in 24, we figured out our problem and kind of dug our way back, but we were so far behind the Daniel Haynes and the Ted McKees and all the ones that were just wearing us all out. And that it took us the rest of that year just to catch back up. It's crazy to say, but one bad year took another whole year to get back to being competitive. Like I said, we did make a couple of finals, but we couldn't get it done. And we did a lot of changes last year, the last half of the season, when we knew we couldn't win a championship. We just went into test mode at every race. We tested a lot outside the races. And after the season was done, we tested 4 more times and dynoed twice after the season was over, just to try to be ready for this year. And it appears that the hard work's paying off.
Yeah, that hard work definitely paid off. You could see it at Shadyside, and you were competitive at South Georgia Motorsports Park as well. You just had a tough matchup and came up on the losing end of a close drag race. So you are definitely in play in the category that you're in, and everybody's talking about the young guns, and rightfully so. Briley and Michael are doing a phenomenal job, but we have got an extremely competitive class, as we have mentioned, with C, but also B, with Daniel not competing this year with the Patriot in there, and then Ted McKee obviously still running strong. He was in the final round against you. No wonder you don't have any hair on top of your head being in B gas.
Yeah. The young guns, Briley just kind of run a couple of races, I think, last year and a race or two before that. And I mean, look at how well he's done this year. And he's already won one, and he'll win another one. The kid's doing a good job driving, and obviously got a good car with Quayne and them handling everything for him, and the family deal like everybody else. And like, proud to see how well he's doing. He actually raced motocross with my son back throughout the years, when they were little. And so I kind of known them for a long time, never in this form of racing, but from motocross family. And then, of course, Michael Oden, he won one last year, and he's going to win more. They're both continuing to grow and do better and better. And then you get the, like you said, Daniel's out. I hate Daniel's out this year because Daniel was the car to beat last year. Even if he wasn't the fastest, Daniel can drive, and Daniel won a lot of races behind the wheel. And then Ted McKee's been fast since the day he showed back up with orange paint on it from white. And he always will be. You got a good team and got a good motor, and it's that's the way B-Gas is all the way around. There's no gimmies anymore. This class has picked up 0.4 of a second in the last 3 years, and that's a lot considering the rules haven't changed.
And Ken, talk about how the 0.4 of a second, that's almost a half a second. What has been some of the things that you guys have done in a chassis type situation to help lower those elapsed times for yourself?
Well, I'm probably not going to tell you that, David.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
It's really an honest question. We worked really hard on engine program, worried about power, stayed on the dyno, did everything we could, and finally realized that we had power and we can make more power, but we didn't run no faster. And we realized, we got a car problem, and we went to work on our car. And unfortunately, first of last year, we stuck it in the wall at Shadyside. Unfortunate accident. Something broke in the front end, and then before we could do anything, I done hit the wall. And that actually might have been maybe what kind of opened up my eyes to where our chassis problems were from the repairs from that incident at Shadyside. And the last 4 or 5 races last year, we didn't touch an engine. We worked on our car from front bumper to back bumper, and from weight percentages to ladder bars to any and everything, spring and shocks. I mean, it's a whole package, and it's not any one thing. But when we realized that our car was our problem, we instantly started going faster and faster. And to be honest with you, this day, we changed engine combinations, like you said, over the last race last year, but we still haven't touched our engines. We just keep continuing to work on our car.
And that's something that we're seeing throughout our gas categories and super stock is, the combination that's right for you and your car and the setup that works best might be different for you. Might have a Chevy too. Ben Christopher might have a Chevy too, but it's totally different. Driving style, setup, the way the car was built could really affect everything. And just because he's got a Chevy too and you do, you can't just copy what he did.
Absolutely. These cars sit up different than most race cars that sit high in the front as opposed to low, like a standard drag car. And it takes a while to understand what makes these cars work. And it's a lot of backward stuff, and it is, and the guys who used to do this and know how to do this, are retired from racing or not around. Well, there's a Jerry Dean or two out there that kind of understand, and they prove that they understand. But this is kind of backwards from what any of us have ever done. And sometimes it takes a while to figure it out.
Well, you were pretty smart in not sharing all your secrets because Wayne Swafford says, go ahead, Ken. No one important's listening, as he is set to make his 2025 debut at the Bama Bash. He's going to be back in competition, further deepening the pool of competitors in B-Gas.
And I'm glad to see Wayne back. You know, misfortune for him 2 years ago. I'm glad to see him get back behind the wheel, and always enjoyed racing Wayne, and more or less enjoyed beating Wayne. But you know, he's up on me right now. I'm gonna be honest. I owe him a couple, so I'm looking forward to him coming back. And Wayne's a great friend, and obviously part of the series, tremendous part of the series, and we appreciate that and thank him for everything he does. And I'm glad to see him back racing.
Ken, you have been running with the Southeast Gas Association for a while now. You have won a championship, you've won races. You are certainly a car that when you roll onto the premises of any race, people need to look out for you to turn on win lights and walk away with a trophy more than likely. What is the story, though, behind your hot rod and the Renegade name and painting it red? What's the story of going SEGA racing for Ken Rainwater? Like, why is it not Rain Man? Like, that would fit easy with Rainwater. I mean,
you know, I really don't know. Picking a name for these cars is probably one of the hardest things to do. And we picked names and wrote names down and made lists and lists and lists. And I don't know. I don't even know where Renegade came from, but we picked it and we liked it and we stuck with it. And, you know, it just kind of, I don't really know. I can't have an answer for that. I, like a lot of people, are probably that way. Don't really have an explanation for where the name comes from. But, you know, our car was already a, you know, competitive big ass car when we bought it. I think it'd been sitting for a year or two, and Doug Dobbins had it. And just to me, that's the Chevy 2s are what I like, and out of this series of racing. And, you know, the name Renegade just kind of seemed to fit with the Rainwater. I don't know, just kind of made sense.
it works. That red is impressive. It stands out amongst, you know, other red cars and other red machines. It is certainly a noticeable red, and you're certainly going to be a renegade, I think, this year with all the other storylines happening in BGAS and possibly upsetting some whippersnappers, if we may say.
I'm sure they'll get their licks in too. You know, they already have, so that's all part of it. It's what makes us better. It's what makes us racers, and we look forward to the rest of the year. I hate Mother Nature bit us this weekend, but we can't control her. And you know, Mother's Day weekend, you know, that's unfortunate, but hey, we're going to go test on Friday, race on Saturday, and we're going to spend Mother's Day on Sunday with Mom. So it's all going to work out. Everybody's going to enjoy it. We're going to have a good race, and look forward to everybody coming back to Alabama after a couple of years, because Lord knows we burn the roads up going all over. So it's good to see one in Alabama. And I think the last Alabama race you mentioned was Laster Mountain in what, 22, I think it was. We had three cars from Alabama in the Southeast Gassers at that time, and now we're up to 8. So Alabama's growing for sure, and I think David mentioned, you know, we got 3 world champions in Alabama now, and looking to grow that this year. But not only just hopefully me, but Todd and several others. And Todd's not out of it. You know, he's behind the 8 ball to start with, but Todd's a racer, and he's going to prevail.
So Ken, how familiar are you with Holiday Raceway?
Pretty familiar, I guess. I'll say this. First pass I ever made in a real drag car, I was 17 years old in an alcohol funny car at Holiday Beach. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. It was a neighbor's car. Asked me if I wanted to drive it, and I said, sure. And that's where he took me, Holiday Beach. And the first couple of passes I made were there. And to be honest, I haven't done a ton of racing there over the years. I go there every now and then, and we've done some testing there in the past year or two. It's a great little track. I think it's very fitting for our series. As Todd mentioned, the tower is right up on the track. The fence is right up on the track. Everybody can get up close and personal with the cars. And it reminds you a little bit of a shady side, to a sense that the way the tower and the track, and it goes uphill at the finish line. Like Todd said, the pits are all grass and flat and plenty of shade trees. And I don't know, the vibe there, it's a family-owned track. They've owned it since the day it opened. They run it since the day it was open. And they're really a class act, and I think everybody really enjoy it.
Ken, thank you for your time. We're looking forward to see you along with the other Bama boys there at the Bama Brawl at Holiday Raceway, now May 9th and 10th. Look, same question for you. Like, can we get you and McKee to line up again and see who bests in qualifying, or on Friday night? You know, he is the guy with that orange coming down to Crimson Land. And, I mean,
yeah. We want to do a Crimson, and Crimson and Orange battle, we can do that. Game.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever Ted wants to do. We want to make a little exhibition race Friday night. If Ted's up for it, I am. Hey, it's all in fun. And
Okay. So
whatever somebody put together, Ted's good, I'm good.
Okay. What kind of stakes we talking about? Maybe stakes themselves.
Let's think about that. We'll figure that out during the next week.
Okay, we need Ted in on this. Obviously,
it's unfair for me to make decisions, so we'll get Ted involved. But I'm good. Whatever he wants to do. Okay. I didn't really like Todd's idea about push-ups. I think we're all too old for push-ups.
I know.
Mock that one.
I know.
Look at David.
I know. I think push-ups. Not sure about that one.
I can tell Todd's been listening to his doctor after his incident.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely has. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's as simple as loser has to wear the other team's jersey or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. We could work something out. So
driving a pink tutu.
Woo! Driving a pink tutu.
Your ideas are as bad as Todd's.
Well, Ken, look, congratulations on the win again at Shady Side. We are definitely looking forward to all the storylines that are going to come out of BGAS. We know you're going to be playing a major part in that. Keep playing the role of the renegade in BGAS. Thank you, Ken.
Hey, thank y'all. Appreciate everything y'all do.
David, Ken Rainwater, always a threat, no matter what the race, whatever track. He could be a threat in any category, I think, just to make the adjustment to the rules. Yeah. He's that caliber of a driver, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they've been racing a long time. Don't be fooled. When Todd Oden and his father came into the Southeast Gassers, they came in, and I like to tease Todd about this. Todd, he was like, man, we just love this Southeast Gassers. We like this old school racing, and we think we'd like to get involved. And I tease him and tell him he pulled the old Opie Taylor with us and goes, golly gee, Pa, and all this. And then he comes in here, guns a-blazing, and we find out his background and his history is he's been racing since he was a teenager and at a high level as well. And he really ramped it up. And so that's the same with Ken Rainwater. And we have many more stories like that out there in the Southeast Gassers. And the thing that makes our product unique is we have people that build them in themselves, like Tim Hall builds his own motors, uses steel heads, and works constantly with just his family. Or you have, other people like Greg Stelz, who has a team that comes with him, and they do a great job, and they travel so far and have a lot of funding. So it's really something that makes the Southeast Gassers unique, and it's turning into making it really competitive as well.
It is, and it's fascinating to me. I will hear many times from onlookers. I'm not even going to say necessarily fans. I wonder at times when people make these comments if they're fans. Or I'll see in the comment section on social media that, it's become who can spend the most money type of affair in Southeast Gassers Association drag racing. Well, for one, that means it's just highly competitive, and that to win, you got to put more stakes in the game. And if it's worth winning and it's that competitive, it means that much more, even if you have to spend a bit more. But just like you said, there are examples, championship examples, matter of fact, history-setting examples, like a Tim Hall buying parts off of eBay, putting it together, borrowing a shop from a buddy, and going out there with his family and just with some know-how and some experience from days gone by, going out there and winning and waxing people.
Yeah, two-time world champion, back-to-back. But the first thing Tim will tell you is he loves racing, but he loves doing it with his family. And then the extended family of the Southeast Gassers. He enjoys getting to the track early just for the camaraderie, for the friendship, for the bench racing that they do, standing around talking on Thursday afternoons and Thursday evenings, Friday mornings before, they get ready to practice. That's what he enjoys. And there's so many more. I've said all the time, and it's a family that we just happen to travel around and race against each other. And the only time that anybody's really super duper competitive with each other is when they hit that water box. And when they hit the turnout road, they want to make sure their competitor's safe. Hey, you need something? I got my trailer right over here. You need a screw, a bolt. What you need an extra manifold? I got it, you know?
Absolutely. And that was on full display at Shadyside Dragway with Leslie Horn and Greg Stelz. Greg had the issue firing up on Friday night to go make a test hit. Things did not sound good. No need to push it. And Leslie's like, hey, let's go get a bullet from the shop just down the road and go run with it. And then Leslie goes on and gets beat by his own motor in the Joker as Greg was driving. So, I mean, look, yes, very competitive. And when you line up, whoever you are as a competitor, you want to win. But these competitors want to do just that, compete against one another. And look, if Leslie didn't step up, he would have had every right not to do that and have an easier round win potentially on race day for him. But that's not what he did. He gave a guy a motor to go out there and race, and Greg Stelz was able to have, I would say to this point, probably a career day in Southeast Gassers Association drag racing.
Well, and that just goes to the character of Leslie Horn. And you could say it about 40 other guys that we have race in this association. You know, look at a Jimmy Huff. He's got the hoopty coop. He builds everything himself. He's been running great in 2025 and just salt of the earth, give you the shirt off his back, literally. You know, and I know many stories about Leslie of his generosity to other people outside of racing. I've been friends with him for years. That's just who he is. That's at the core of who he is. And that's what makes also our racers wanting to, like Tim Hall, wanting to get there, like I mentioned before. They want to see their friends. The off season's the worst for us because we don't get to see each other. You know, we look so forward to the banquet in January because we've been off for a month and a half.
Right.
You know, these are friends who share the common knowledge of the racing bug. But you're right. Our doubters and people who try to knock us down, they talk about the money. And you're right. When you put racing out there, sometimes the money is going to be spent. But also the hours in the shop turning wrenches can overcome a lot of that money as well.
It certainly can. I think of another example of Ben Shaw in the Odd Rod gasser truck. You can go watch their build of their motors in their shop, and they're doing it in the garage, if you will, in the shop right there at the house. And he comes out, his first race of the year, Shadyside, and makes a semifinal round appearance and performs admirably well with a home-built motor.
And a home-built truck. I mean, that truck is put together. That's why it's called the Odd Rod. There's Ford pieces. There's Chevrolet pieces. They just mix them all together. But those guys, number one, it's a father and son. Another great father-son story. And also, you talk about those guys building their own motors with a shoestring budget. I mean, they don't have the ability to call up Gene Fulton and say, build me something brand new, tell me what I owe you, and tell me when to pick it up. They're hands-on. They know the timing. They know their ring lash. They know their crankshaft travel distance. They know everything in there because they've worked on it themselves.
It's absolutely impressive. You got it all within the world of Southeast Gassers Association drag racing. And there is something for just about everybody. I've seen a lot of comments on social media and on the YouTube channel that remark, hey, I like HGAS. That's something I could get into, and it's something that interests me, and it's something that's economical. And it's not necessarily just a starter class. You can make a home and be competitive, such as Robert Frazier in H-Gas, but nonetheless, you see people that gravitate towards that. So there is something for those individuals. And then there's a wild popularity for AFX. I'm looking forward. I hope we keep the car count. We may have the most AFX cars in SEGA history at the Bama Brawl at Holiday Raceway, and be near 8 cars. We might not hit it, but we're going to be closer to 8 cars than we've ever been, from what I understand, in the AFX category. So there is interest there. People look at those old funny cars and they're just cool. So there is just a little bit of anything for everybody in the Southeast Gassers Association, and you can get it done and be competitive. Not to mention, David, if you're not a competitor, if you are just a fan of drag racing, you're going to have one of the best times at a Southeast Gasser Association race that you will have in drag racing. You know, this year, David, I've been able to introduce several people to the Southeast Gassers Association that have never experienced it, but they've experienced a lot of drag racing, such as Dujanay Bland, Adam Dobbs, who was doing photography for SEGA at Shadyside, and John Four, a great photographer, John Four III, great photographer, renowned. And so many people, they come out, they encounter it, they experience it, and they're like, wow, this is such a good show. From the people, from the cars, from the venues, from the competitive nature of it. It is, dollar for dollar, one of the best tickets you can buy in drag racing.
And we see that every time someone comes and experiences one of our races, they start looking at the schedule going, where's the next closest one? Well, you know what? We can take a vacation and go to Gulfport, Mississippi during cruising the coast and see hot rods and racing and put all that together. And I promise you, when you walk through our pits, just like I talked about the quality of the individuals that we've got in this association, there's nobody with their nose up in the air and ropes around their trailers and their cars telling you can't come. I mean, their doors are open, their doors are off their cars. You can look in them. I mean, you know, it's been one of the most amazing rides that I've been on in having my friend group grow so much with these outstanding people we have.
Absolutely. Well, David, look, as we begin to wind down here on SEGA Live, been a good episode. Let's recap some of the big news concerning this weekend. That, well, we're not going to have this weekend. It has been postponed to May 9th and 10th due to weather.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that's happened, but, you know, kudos to our management staff for being proactive, making sure that, you know, our people who are making these long trips are not going to be doing that in vain. I know Rick Taylor from Arizona, he's already in Mississippi. So what does Todd Oden do? Todd Oden says, I'll meet you in Mississippi, take your hauler to my dad's place, put it up. You can stay there till the next weekend. You know, that's the kind of camaraderie and the people we have here.
Yeah, that's a great move. And that's the type of moves that happen in the Southeast Gassers Association. And look, even the move of management that is SEGA with Holiday Raceway of saying, hey, we can move it. We've got some wiggle room in our schedule. We don't have to just cancel. You know, there are times where cancellation has to happen. And I'm glad that this is not the case. We've got another opportunity to race in Alabama, to go to the first time ever for SEGA at Holiday Raceway and have a great, tremendous drag racing show next weekend, Mother's Day weekend. And oh, by the way, Mom will like it too. And that has been evident. I know my mom, she's always asking, hey, when can I go to a race? Are you going to be in this state? When I'm there, can I come to the race? So on, so on, so on. So just ask Mom if she wants to come along to the drag strip. And we're not racing on Sunday. We're not racing on Mother's Day. It's not going to wreck your plans that much. Just come on out, bring Mom, and enjoy a day at the drags as if it was 1967.
I couldn't agree more. And moms love their children. And if the children want to be there, the moms want to be with their children as well. And I couldn't agree with you more, James.
Well, folks, the Southeast Gaspers Association, we have got it in full effect. You can see the update with Woodstock was to the weekend that we've got ahead of us. Now we've got an update with it now on May 9th and 10th, but bringing this up so you can see the next stop will be Knoxville, Tennessee, then Xenia, Ohio. And then we've got a break during July and get through some of the heat. And we pick back up with Ringgold, Georgia, then Jackson, Tennessee for the first time, back to Tennessee on the east side, Knoxville, Gulfport, Mississippi, and then back to Shelby, North Carolina. And again, going into the third race of the season, David, we have some spectacular storylines happening in Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, from who's not competing to where they will be competing to who's coming back to who's in the lead to who's going to be making moves. Stay up with the storylines happening in SEGA, some of the best drag racing in the world right now.
And you can do that by tuning in here to SEGA Live, or going back and following us on all our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram. Those are great ways to keep up as well. And a lot of our drivers have their own pages for their cars. The Chick Magnet, the Double X Racing Team, just a couple off the top of my head. And that is a way that you really can keep up with that. But before we get going here, I want to make sure that we send out our well wishes to Jaron Perdue's father. He did say on here that his father has to have a procedure done, much like Todd had to have done. And of course, Jaron, family first. We would totally understand that and be praying for your father. And another one of our crew members and a guy who's been vital in Southeast Gassers for years, Billy Eisen, is under the weather and facing some doctor's appointments coming up, and want to lift him up as well. Billy Eisen with the Young Blood crew, want to lift him up as well.
Our thoughts with each and every one of them. And as you mentioned, David, yes, follow along on Instagram, Facebook. There is even an X profile for the Southeast Gassers Association, the platform formerly known as Twitter. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and more content from Shadyside Dragway will be coming out and rolling out as I'm able to edit it and get it out from the event. You do have a full video of AGAS eliminations, as well as each and every final, and the great ride along that Leslie Horn was able to provide. And to Carburetor Bob, our condolences as well, and praying for you, man. And I know just across the board right now, there's been so many issues in the world of drag racing. Bubba Corzine, who should be in a Hall of Fame with all he's done. He lost his wife, Letha. He goes way back into the pro stock scene with Warren Johnson and Bob Glidden and, race director. It's been around. It has been around.
And Letha even worked with us. Letha and Bubba worked with the Southeast Gassers for a while, several years ago. So, yes, got close to Letha as well. And, again, condolences to Bubba.
Bob, Bubba, we're thinking about you. Everyone else as well. We're thinking about, getting to Sweet Home, Alabama next weekend, May 9th and 10th for the Bama Brawl. Over there, David Lancaster, the voice of the Southeast Gassers Association. I'm Lee Kraft. Thank you for watching SEGA Live. Until next time, God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal.
Harbin's Mechanical serves Atlanta, Georgia, and its metro area. From the big jobs downtown to the jobs in your hometown of the suburbs, they are your #1 source for your HVAC and refrigeration needs in Atlanta and its metro area. Stay cool in Hotlanta with Harbin's Mechanical Services.